All right, yesterday started our new unit. All right, so go to Schoology. It's got the essential question, learning goals, targets, all that kind of stuff. But the gist, the essential question of what we're doing next is, in every economic system, you got to figure something out. Who gets what stuff? How do you break up the resources? All the stuff that we make in this country, how are we going to figure out who gets what stuff? All right, that's essentially the question that we're trying to answer over the next week and a half. All right. So we asked these questions, and yesterday we went over the three basic economic questions, because there's three questions that every economic system has to answer. All right. And for the first one, let's see what you remember. Which one of the following is a summary of the basic economic questions? Don't forget to copy these questions and answers, do them Cornell note style, because these are the test questions, so you'll want to make sure that you have that. So which of the following is a summary of the basic economic questions? Someone raise your hand, tell me what you got. Yes, sir.
I picked A.
Who will buy which goods and services, and how much will they pay? That is a really strong, you could make a strong argument for that, because that's what we do in our economic system all the time. But you're so used to dealing with money and all that kind of stuff, sometimes it's not even that complicated. All right, so what else do we get? Any other answers for that one? Yep. D, what goods and services should be produced? How are they going to be produced? And for whom? Who's going to get them and who's going to make them? Those are the three questions that have to be answered. All right. Now, tomorrow we start talking about the different economic systems. All right. I'll give you a little preview of it. Our economic system is called a market economy. These questions get answered by the market. What do I mean when I say market? Supply and demand. For instance, watch this. What goods and services should be produced in Orlando? Let's say you wanted to open up a snow shovel business in Orlando, Florida. Can you do that? No. Why can you do it?
You can.
Why shouldn't you?
Because there's no snow for it.
Because there's no snow. So no, the government doesn't tell you you can't do it, but the market does. Supply and demand. There's no demand for snow shovels in Orlando, so nobody makes them here. Nobody told anybody, don't produce snow shovels. Nobody instructs Walmart, hey, don't put snow shovels on your shelves. Nobody tells them to do that. The market does. So these questions, what should be produced? How's it going to be produced? Who's going to receive it? They're all answered by the market. They're all answered by supply and demand. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it that we'll talk about tomorrow, maybe the government answers those questions. The government's going to tell people what to produce, how to produce it, who's going to get it, and who's going to make it. Right? Sometimes tradition, how things have been done in the past, answer those questions. We, the United States, use mostly a market system. The market answers those questions, but not all countries are like that. Okay? But that's the importance of these three questions. All right? Question number 2 on the bell work. We did not go over this. We're going to start it today. I'll see what your answers are, and we'll hit it really hard on Thursday. All right? Each society answers 3 basic economic questions based on, I haven't had anybody get it right with the first crack today. Let's see if anybody can get it right now. Which answer do you think is the best up there? Each society answers the 3 basic economic questions based on, go.
A.
I got A and I got C. All right, let's work from and D. Okay, so let's work from the bottom up. All right, the desire to achieve economic freedom. If you put C or D, I like your answer. It's not right, but I really like it. All right, because you're thinking in terms of our economic system, which is good. All right, the desire to achieve economic freedom is important in the United States. We said, can you sell snow shovels if you want to? You can. You have that freedom. All right. Why do we like economic freedom? Because it builds economic growth. Okay. But here's why these answers aren't correct. All right. Each society answers 3 basic economic questions based on what? Let's say you move to Cvetko land. I start my own country. And you know what? Economic freedom is not important to me. Economic growth isn't important to me. Remember yesterday when we did the shoe example? Equity is important to me. It's important that everybody's equal. I want to make sure everybody gets 1 pair of shoes before anybody gets a second pair. Remember the other example, we had 8 million people getting 2 pair of shoes each, and 2 million people were barefoot, right? And we said that's okay in our economic system. The United States does that because that promotes economic growth. We'll talk about that later. But if I don't value that, if my country in Cvetko land, you move to Cvetko land, we want equity. We don't do freedom and we don't do growth. That's not important to me. I don't value that as much. That's not my economic goal. My economic goal is equity. I want everybody to be the same. I want no classes. Not like school classes, but like economic classes. None of you want school classes, right? You all got excited about that. So we don't want any economic classes, wealthy, middle, lower class. All right? If that's your goal, then you don't care about freedom, you don't care about growth. All right? So how these things are answered are based on what your goals and values are.
I got it right?
Yeah. So, all right?
I have it.
Okay. So, now that we understand that, here's where we finished off yesterday. We started creating our little brochure, right? If you weren't here, all the directions are on Schoology. Okay, go to Schoology. It takes you step by step. It says you're going to create a brochure like this one, a 3-fold brochure. How do you find it? I suggest you go to Microsoft Word and then click File, New, and then search 3-fold brochure, and they give you templates. All right, and then it tells you step by step what you're going to do. Today you're going to make sure you do letter A and E. Don't do B, C, and D. All right, it says in the directions A, then E. All right, A and E. A is the front cover. Directions are there what to do. E is this inside tab right here. This is where we're going to talk about the 3 basic economic questions. Okay. Now, what gets confusing is this. When you look at this, here's the thing. Here's the front. This is the front page, right? Before you fold it, here's the front. Here's the inside tab, and here's the back. Front, back, inside, middle. All right? It gets confusing because when you fold it, watch what happens. I take that inside middle and I fold it here. The back stays there, and then I fold the front over to here. So trying to figure that out becomes a little bit tough. Most of your templates are going to have a page like this and then a page underneath it. And you just have to know you're going to have front, back, middle, and then the other side is going to be panels B, C, and D. All right, that's in the directions. But all you're doing today is that front cover and this insert right here. Front cover, 3 economic systems, jazz it up. The middle part is going to be the 3 economic questions. All right, so you're doing letters A, letters E. If you get that done, you can start on B, C, and D, but we're going to cover that more tomorrow. Okay? All right, any questions?